1983 Henley's Austin Rover Tour of Tameside, Britain's toughest race. A week-long 52-mile double marathon run over all types of terrain, with world-class athletes taking part. Henley's Austin Rover and Tameside Council backing great runners.
UK and all over the world.
Okay, we have 8 minutes before the start. Are you looking forward to the race?
Yes.
In good form?
In good form.
Good form also?
I'm tired. I saw the race. I saw the girls and
okay.
It was too hilly for me.
Too hilly?
Too hilly.
Oh well, there's a big hill tomorrow, so you better start worrying about that. We also got two gentlemen all the way from Bahrain. Would you like to just sort of come here? Now, I don't think you're quite hoping to win the race, are you two? But
No way.
No, it's the social visit. We're going to come to try the beer out and the fish and chips.
Yeah,
Norway, Germany, Sweden, but also lots and lots of people from the UK, old and young, men and women. And the 97 starts with a small loop around the centre of Hyde, and then climbs out towards G Cross and then onto Hattersley. And here we can see the runners making that climb into G Cross before turning left and then over undulating country roads into Hattersley. Lots of local runners, Stockport Harriers there. Lots of people wearing the souvenir tour vest. Every starter in the race gets a free souvenir vest. Away from Mr. Zollner from the YMCA. Tight corner. This is about halfway down the field and on the first stage of the line 7. 287 starters on this stage. 1 or 2 dropouts before the race actually started, which is usual. People get commitments and have to find themselves having to go elsewhere, or they get injured and can't make the journey. But most people seem to be running quite steadily here, because this is the start of a 52-mile race in total. Susan Gaskell there from Longwood Harriers. Her husband's in Airedale and Spen Valley. Guy there with his vest off. It's a hot day on this particular day, Sunday, and guy looking for some quite light relief there. His number will have to be shown at the end. Jit Patel in the yellow vest there. Ron Hill 030. A Hardy from Burnham 021 in the yellow vest with the green stripe. And there's Wolfgang Munsell from West Germany, one of the invited athletes, an international runner with 182, the bearded man. Number 071 is Steve Howcroft. Another bearded guy just behind that group is Bengt Nordqvist from Sweden, running with McBride from Salford. Malcolm there with his red vest. Mike Deegan is chasing in 3rd place here. We're going right through the field now to catch the leaders, and 2nd is Peter Russman from Holland, a good international runner from Holland. And leading the race is Dave Cannon from Appleby, a Gateshead Harrier, an international marathon runner. Well away. I think everybody's letting Dave go on that particular day, because he'd made it known before he started that he was only going to run 1 stage, and this was in preparation for further races he had in the year. He needed a 7-mile road race, a hard 7, and Dave's given it a lot and he's well in the lead. Steve Howcroft and Wolfgang Munsell coming along with just about a mile to go. at the end of the Nike Hide 7. It's a long flat bit followed by a slight downhill to the finish, so people can let it go here and know that there are no more hills. There were some hills earlier in the course, but now it's flat and downhill all the way. Mike Deegan running well, running strongly. Dave coming into Hyde Town Centre now to finish this Nike 7, the first stage of the Henley's Austin Rover Tour of Tameside. Looking easy, but he can afford to relax now because he knows he hasn't got another 5 races in the next 6 days. Second, Peter Russman. And third, Mike Deegan. These will be the first two to lead off the tour on the next stage, with Peter Russman wearing the yellow vest. Steve Howcroft having a very good run here. Lee Harrier. And Malcolm McBride. Little victory wave there coming in front of Wolfgang Munsell. They must have had a bit of a sprint at the end of the race there. Steve Evans from Sale Harriers, Bengt Nordqvist, Dave Allen from Airedale and Spen Valley. Stan Curran, Salford Harrier, works in Hyde, so knows the finish pretty well. Alan Sladen, another Salford Harrier. That's 3 Salford Harriers in already. Terrific team packing there. Jeff Norman seems to elect on that first stage, and the first veteran, Tim Johnston, chasing Jeff Norman home. Duncan Gaskell. And Morpeth Harrier, A. Jenkins, made the long journey down from the northeast to be with us in the tour this year. Some gaps here, but soon the runners will be coming in fast and furious. Oh, a good sprint finish from local runner Martin Cruikshank, East Cheshire Harrier. Steve Brace from Bridgend YMCA, chased on by the old man Ron Hill there. Michael Lee.
Here she comes.
Tony Alexander, yeah, the first junior home. People not trusting the timekeepers here, pressing their little portable stopwatches on the wrist to make sure they get their own exact time. Pete Lomas, one of the best veterans in previous tours. Guy turning around there, looks like he wants to go back for it, but I don't really think so.
Well done, congratulations. You won the first stage of the Tour of Tameside. I believe it was so tough that you're now going to retire from the Tour, which is a great pity. It's a shame you won't be wearing the yellow vest, but how did it go?
No, it went very well. The race settled down after 2 miles and I broke away and felt quite relaxed.
Yeah, so it could well be that the other 5 or 6 guys behind you were thinking about the Tour. I don't think they really knew that you weren't going to be in there, but...
I think I sort of told all the lads before on the line that I thought was going to be up there that I would be only running this leg.
Okay, how do you fancy doing the whole tour sometime?
Yes,
idea?
Not this year, but another year, yes.
Yeah, it should be good fun for all of us.
Yeah.
And this is only the start. Everybody said this was a hill race, but wait till they see tomorrow.
Yeah, well, good luck with it, Ron,
Yeah.
anyway.
Well done again, Dave, and best of luck for the rest of the season in marathoning.
Thank you.
Good lad.
Colin Robinson, 327. Mike Bolton, 2 veterans from Rochdale just finishing there. Susan Gaskell, one of the leading ladies, collapsed in the heat of that first stage. In fact, she was to retire after this. She felt so bad after that race.
Tim, first veteran home, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Maybe second. Well done. You're about 12th position. I thought you'd be up there about 3rd, so it's you're either saving yourself or it's a tough field. Which is it?
I wasn't saving myself, Ron.
No. It was eyeballs out, eh?
Yeah, I can't run up hills these days. It was the start that did me. That first half mile uphill, I was really struggling at the top.
If you can't run up hills, you're in for a shock tomorrow and the day after, Tim.
I can run down them well though, Ron.
All right. Good. Are you looking forward to tomorrow?
I'll tell you another thing, I run a whole lot better in the evening than in the morning.
Yeah, a lot can happen between now and next Saturday. Good luck anyway.
Cheers.
How did you find the race?
Oh, very good race.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah, but I thought it was yesterday the hill race, but today we had also a hill race.
Oh, tomorrow is a bigger hill, yes. But your legs are fine?
Yeah, very good. Good. The last up, I go slowly.
Yes.
The first one going too fast, I think
You came back.
I've take the gas on. Yeah.
Right, so you're relaxed and
Relaxed the last 4 miles.
good. So you have the yellow jersey tomorrow?
I hope
Yes,
we shall
because the
see.
other man doesn't run tomorrow.
I heard it from
So you
Germany.
have the yellow jersey.
We shall look tomorrow.
Fine.
Okay. Bye.
Good luck. The winner of the 97, the first stage, was Dave Cannon. Dave is now retiring from the tour after one stage. Obviously it's a bit tough, and it's a long way to travel down from Appleby every night. So he will not get the yellow jersey of the race leader, because if he's retired it then falls to the second guy on today's stage. Dave had come up and receive his prize. Dave won the stage in a time of 33 minutes 22 seconds, which is pretty good going anyway. Second on today's stage was Peter Russman from Holland, 33.49. Well done. 34.06, Mike Deegan, Salford Harriers. First in the ladies section was Anne King in 39.50. Well done. Second, Colette Harkin, 40.13. And third, Angela Deegan, 41.25. You can stand up. This is the Brooks Hill race. Mike Deegan is with me watching this film of the Tour of Tameside, and you start this stage 17 seconds down, Mike, on Russman. How did you feel going into this?
I felt a lot better than the day before. The day before I seemed to be looking very heavy legged on the film just now. Today I felt a lot fresher. Just a little bit cooler. There was a lot of shadows on the first stage. It was close, I think it was a pretty hot day the first stage. This was an evening event, obviously a bit cooler, and I just generally seemed to run a lot better. I felt a little more relaxed, set up quite easily in the pack. Alan Sladen took the lead very early, went very hard at the hill here when we turned the corner. I just worked my way through the pack gently and seemed to get me running a lot better.
Yeah, the Brooks Hill race is 6 miles, starting at Copley Sports Centre in Staley Bridge. It's about a half a mile, fairly steep downhill run to the traffic lights to the main road in Staley Bridge, and then a left turn up towards Mottram Crutting, and a long climb, almost 2 miles of a climb, and the same sort of slope, quite steep all the way. And Sladen, who was the inaugural tour winner, Alan Sladen from Salford, he won the tour in 1981, seems set to try and steal a little bit of glory from this stage. Mike Deegan is chasing with that second back and actually fairly rapidly overhauling Alan, as you can see there. And Mike, you're not hanging about, you go straight past, and obviously must be feeling quite good there. He's striding well.
Yeah, it was funny because the plan, I remember running up the hill and thinking I'll run with Russman, and he wasn't very confident about the downhill section. I wasn't overconfident, but I thought, well, I can get the time back on the downhill and maybe we're going to finish this stage even Steven and back to square one. But when you're running well and you can feel the gaps opening up easily, I just decided I better start going hard while I felt good and try to get away early. So this is exactly what's happening now. I must have about 10 metres and looking quite relaxed and running quite well. That's how it felt.
Yeah, you've got a good lead there. You're striding well, as you say. You're looking relaxed, and to stride well going uphill is pretty good going. Really good rhythm going there, and you can see the chasing group dropping further and further behind. We've got Dave Allen there in the striped vest and dark shorts. Alan Sladen just put a quick burst in there, and the other part of that trio was obviously Peter Russman wearing the yellow shirt, the race leader's yellow vest,
and I wouldn't reckon he'd want to let you get too far away here, but of course when you're running uphill and you're feeling tired, sometimes you don't have too much of a choice. He's obviously, just see him in second place there, and you're stretching to 30 or 40 metres here, so obviously climbing well and really, can we say, enjoying that part of the race, Mike?
Nice to be getting away, but I never looked behind, and I couldn't hear the footsteps, and I thought, well, I'm going well, but even when you're away up a long hill like that, I passed 2 miles and it didn't seem to be anywhere near the top. And I think the mistake that I made really was that I thought when we went off the road onto the fell that we were at the top, but in fact we still had about another mile to climb. And a lot of this lead disappears very shortly.
Well, I've got an 11-mile training run over that moor. I thought you'd been with me on that once, Mike. So maybe next time you'll know anyway. But it is a long climb, and one or two of you made the mistake of thinking once you got to the top of this first long climb and went onto the flat that was it. But in fact there's quite a long distance of rough country with a final long climb to the summit. We can see Wolfgang Munsell there didn't appear in that leading group near the start, but he's worked his way through to third place here, so maybe this guy likes the hills. Maybe it's a sort of new talent for him that he's just discovered, but certainly he's running well on or just behind the shoulder of Russman, with Dave Allen in fourth place, because Mike is well away here. Mike Deegan's way in front at this stage. In fact, he's just before the top of Mottram Cutting, where they turn left into Harrop Edge Road, and another 3/4 of a mile of tarmac running before turning left onto the rough country.
Yeah. This was looking quite strong there, quite relaxed, but obviously...
He's looking relaxed, but I don't think if he'd been that comfortable he would have let you get away so far, so it'd be interesting to see how these two can battle it out. Dave Allen obviously flapping his arms there, and Jeff Norton, a good hill specialist, in about 6th place. Now here's a panoramic view of Staley Bridge and Tameside, in fact, showing the steepness of the downhill part that these runners have got to negotiate, and just panning left to show the countryside there. There's the trig point that the runners have to turn around. They're not on the way down here. After that rough moorland section, there is on this track a bit of downhill running before turning right, and the final long climb on a millstone grit track to the very summit. There, Mike Deegan coming up to the summit. The last final climb here, and Wolfgang Munsell has almost caught him at the summit there, which is an incredible run.
I'm looking pretty heavy legged at this stage. The long drag on the fell is beginning to take its toll, and I'm looking very heavy here.
And certainly it is a drag, and there's an example of people not marking the course properly, and Mike Deegan goes off course there, and in fact you can see Munsell going to the left hand side of a short wall, and Mike Deegan goes down the other side of the wall. Peter Russman is in third position here, but from what happens at the end, he doesn't seem to particularly like the downhill section. He didn't kick that dog there, so he must be an animal lover. Alan Sladen hung on. That gives him 4th place there. Steve Howcroft in 5th place. Beck Nordquist having a fairly good run, Stanker, and again not too far down here. A good run, Stanker. Not too confident going down the hill. Jeff Norm is about the only person really who's got the experience and the knowledge to run down this hill. It's Dave Allen, absolutely shattered. Glad to see that Duncan Gaston comes through there. And Sophie Harrier getting cheers from some of his mates at the top of the hill. Tim Johnston first vet, Michael Eade, Ipswich Harry, Steve Edmonds, again not particularly enjoying this hill section. Big gaps here. Tony Alexander, first junior, Sale Harrier, 141. And you can see it's like falling off the edge of a cliff nearly there. A very narrow track, not much room for overtaking people, and you have to really stay on that track, because if you get off onto the grass at the side, there's a risk of stepping on rocks and falling down. And And this was the first experience, I'm sure, that many people had of running in a hill race like this. A lot of people have run in fun runs and road races and stuff like that, but have never experienced this kind of running before at all. And a lot of people said they didn't like it, but I think a lot of people also found another kind of running, and maybe will turn to fell racing in future competitions. But nearly 300 runners take a long time to get round this stage, and after slogging up the hill they don't really go a lot faster downhill, because it's really unsafe to let yourself go down there.
It's a nice feeling to go downhill after you've been going uphill for 4 miles.
Yeah, it's been said it's hard to go down, but it's a damn sight easier than going up. A good picture there of people slithering and sliding. As you can see, not many people are overtaken. There's a couple of low walls on that downhill section, and you lose all the height that you've slogged up in those 3 or 4 miles in about half a mile. And there's Maurice Schneider from France, struggling along at the back, and Mike Deegan wins the stage handsomely. Obviously got away from Wolfgang Munsell by quite a stretch there.
I think I've done 2 or 3 car races in the past. I don't think Wolfgang's ever seen anything like it. He must have been quite frightened when he saw the edge. In fact, when we went down the hill together, we were side by side for about 50 metres, and then I just thought, well, the only way I'm going to win this is to get away. In fact, I didn't realise it was Wolfgang. I thought it was Peter. Yeah, and I panicked a little bit and got away.
Wolfgang's by far the best run he had in this tour. An excellent performance from him. And Jeff Norman, as we saw, was a long way behind at the top. He streaked through to 3rd place here. As well as being an Olympic marathon runner, Jeff from Altrincham is also an experienced fell runner too. And Peter comes through in 5th position. And has obviously lost a lot of time on the overall stakes of the race. Nordqvist holding off Dave Allen here, a spirited finish from Dave. Every second counts in a tour like this. A few seconds may be needed on the next day or the day after that. Malcolm, he's 2 arms up today in this victory wave. Well done, Malcolm. Duncan Gaskell and Stan Cohen rocking and rolling his way up the finish. Not Stan's favourite stage. Stan's been in the tour before and knows it well. Tim Johnston, Olympic marathon runner from 1968, first veteran. Steve Evans, Sale Harrier. There's the field. We've just seen all those people going through. We're panning right back down the field now, so you can see how far they've got stretched and how many people are still running down the hill when others are heading for the showers. On the right of the screen there's Mike Deegan and Peter Russman looking for their respective wives to finish, because both their wives are running in this race and are featuring in the leading women in the race. Jit Patel, a Bolton Harrier, sprinting it out up the finish there. From 226, Mr. Mullings unattached. Tony Shaw from Rochdale, first over 45 runner. A. Hardy from Burnham Joggers in the yellow vest. A lot of sprinting, every second counts in some of these races. There's a competition at the front of the race, but there's also lots and lots of little competitions going on for the lower placings. Martin Cruikshank had a really good race on the first leg there in green, not so good on the hill stage. And Hamish Thompson, Jess Settle from Clayton Moores Harriers just coming in there. Mike Poulton in the black mesh vest with a red trim. And Peter Ashmouth from Clayton Moores Harriers in the blue vest. These lads and lasses are certainly glad to see the finish, because it's probably the toughest race of the whole competition. Colin Robinson, last year's veteran winner, or the year before's veteran winner I should say, 1981 inaugural veteran winner, 3:27. In fact, this was his He dropped out after this stage because of a sprained ankle. 181 is an Irish runner. Sean Pender. There's always a little bit of energy left to sprint at the end when you're coming in the last 30 or 40 metres of a race and you've got somebody with you. Long striding finish there. And the First Lady hold, Wilma Russman, out sprinting some of the men. Peter Russman's wife. Congratulations, Mike. Big win today. I saw you going right from the front.
Yeah.
What sort of a lead did you have at the end?
About 150 yards, I think, 25 seconds for the finish.
That should take you into the lead overall, eh?
Yeah, just by about 8 seconds. So.
Okay, and who was second? Russman?
Peter was second. I think he suffered on the downhill a little bit. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow.
Another hill at the end. I think it's going to be a little bit more tactical tomorrow.
So yeah, I think I'll sit in for 8 miles and
see how the hill goes
end,
again. Yeah, well done anyway. Great.
Thanks a lot.
Look around, he never does in a race, and in fact Russman was 5th and lost a lot of time. And Mike's good win over Russman on that stage put him 33 seconds ahead and gave him the yellow vest of the overall tour leader. Backing up a little bit at the start, what they call the lump going through the finish there, as many runners go through, and that's Angela Deegan, Mike Deegan's wife, coming through in 3rd place. We missed Barbara Ann King. No, sorry, she was in 2nd place, Angela. Barbara Ann King was 3rd. So Angela had a really good race on that day. She's a good cross-country runner anyway, so was able to tackle that terrain. Dave O'Leary in the black vest, black with white and red stripes, Manchester YMCA. Wilma, congratulations, the winner today. Very hard stage.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's equally good because you raced on Saturday 1500 metres in Holland.
Yes.
Sunday 3000 metres in Holland.
Also.
This morning you had to run a time trial and you won the ladies section today. That's
Yes.
pretty good. How did you feel up the big hill?
Now I feel a little bit tired. I didn't know we get on the grass 2 hills also.
Oh yes, on the rough country.
Yes, I thought when I see the valley we go down, and I didn't know I get 2 hills to go. But it's feel okay now.
It's okay,
Yes.
and you recover tomorrow, and tomorrow is 17 kilometres.
Yes.
Should be okay, we hope.
We hope.
Good. Good night's sleep tonight.
Thank you. I didn't. I think I get a good sleep.
Good. Congratulations.
Okay.
Well
Thank
done.
you.
Super. Thank you. 6 seconds down on Barbara Ann King from Burnham Joggers after 2 stages of the Tour of Tameside. And still they come in minutes after, tens of minutes after the leaders have gone through. But all of having their private battles with themselves and with competitors they will get to know very well over the weeks as they battle it out on the various stages. Maurice Schneide from France enjoying himself. Klaus Armstrong Brown, Kate Fitzgibbon.
Runners still coming over the top of the hill though, quite a way to go. You can see now is obviously the easy
Alistair, star of television or little screen. Well done. How did you go today?
Good race, really good race, yeah.
You pulled up, do you think, on your position yesterday?
No, I think I'm a bit behind the position, but I did 2 minutes better than
last year.
Last year, yeah.
It's amazing because you had bad knees, you were doubtful about the
yeah, no, it was
long and
it was a really good race.
I've got to start looking over my shoulder now.
At the end of the day.
Congratulations. Let's hope you are pulling up because I think people fell behind and gained today.
Oh yeah, no, I felt good tonight.
You stayed on your feet all the way.
Oh, definitely. It's touch and go. Someone suggested think you'd knock that wall down halfway.
I think most of it appeared to have been knocked down anyway.
Yeah.
Looking forward to tomorrow.
Yes, I am.
Good?
Very good.
Looking forward to having you there.
Well, I've got to do better on these short races because the 11 and 13 miles are not really my distance.
We'll see. You're too modest.
Alistair MacDonald, presenter and reporter for the BBC. The third stage of the Tameside is the Adidas run across Tameside 11 miles. It starts at Droylsden and finishes up in Boston. Whilst the two French teammates there study the results of the previous
on the
night's
third race today. How do you think it's going?
The
weather's cooling a bit. I thought it was going to be a real sort of hard one tonight, but I think it's still humid. I think it's going to be a surprise for a few people, or should I say a shock, because there's a temptation to go out hard over the flat 8 miles, and then they suddenly come up against that 3-mile climb from Ashton to Mosley, and people sort of die up there, you know.
Seemed to be a few problems after last night with people having injured themselves on the hill section.
Yeah, there's a few sort of twisted ankles, and one of the major problems that have put people out is blisters, sort of trying to run down and brake and having this friction inside the shoe and sort of coming up with huge blisters that have, you know, broken off and everything. So that's put a few people out. We'll see after tonight's stage what the dropout rate was from last night, but you know, this is what it's all about.
And how does tonight's event compare on the hardship score with the other events that we've seen?
This is a different one. On paper it's innocuous, but I mean, after those two races and with the heat and humidity and the temptation to go fast, there's going to be some shocks, and I'm going to set off very easily indeed.
The most important question of all, how is everybody enjoying it?
Very well indeed. You know, there's a tremendous spirit develops amongst the runners over the days, and you know, it's going great.
Now, I believe this is your first time in an event like this, Colin. Can you tell us how you're enjoying it?
I won't say enjoy is the right word. I think the first day was okay, but the hill yesterday must have been designed by some, I don't know who it was designed by, but it's causing a lot of problems.
A lot of people seem to have had problems after that sort of hill race. How are you going to cope with tonight's race, do you think?
Well, I think I'm going to try and run just within myself and just try and save myself for the last couple of days so that I can at least finish the race.
Have you made any new friends here? Have you met a lot of new runners?
Plenty of friends, yeah. I think what it is with the race, there's a lot of races within a race that you compete in, even though you're down near the bottom. You're competing with people who are sort of equal to yourself. And I find it very enjoyable.
Now, before you put those socks on, just let's have a look at your feet. You seem to be having a few problems here.
I always do every time when I'm running.
Is it your shoes? Do you think that's what it is?
Definitely.
Or is it your feet?
No trouble with my feet.
And what do you think about the event so far?
Terrific.
You're enjoying it, are you?
Yeah.
And what about this 11-mile job tonight? Do you think you'll be able to cope with that okay?
Yeah, same like last year. I try my best.
Starts in Droylsden, it's a lot of flat running, goes up through Denton, past Guide Bridge, into Ashton-under-Lyne, and then a long 3-mile climb from Ashton up to Mosley, finishing at Mosley Football Club's ground at Seal Park. And straight away Malcolm McBride from Salford Harries decides that he's going to have his moment of glory on this particular stage and takes 3 or 4 metres lead, soon to be hauled in by the rest of the field. Bengt Nordqvist, the slightly built, bearded Swedish runner there. Peter Russman, having lost his yellow jersey to Mike Deegan, he's on the right of the screen there. He hasn't got his number on. I don't know what the ploy is there, or whether he's left it at the hotel or something, whether he's lost it, but perhaps he regards himself as being so famous that he doesn't really need that number, but he should really wear it. Mike Deegan with the maroon shorts and the yellow vest, the yellow race leader's vest, up with the pack at this early stage after about a mile. This is about the 5-mile stage, approaching halfway, and the pack has split up completely. It's down to the 2 people who are in main contention here, Peter Russman in the white vest and the grey shorts, and Mike Deegan, the new race leader, number 318, chasing him. Just in the background will probably catch a glimpse of Jeff Norman, who is in third place and is improving almost with every stage of the tour. Still warm, still humid, even though it's 7:30 in the evening start. The week so far has been a good summer week for Britain, but not so good for the runners who have to slog it out over 52 miles, 6 stages in 7 days. It's dehydrating, it's energy sapping, it's enervating, it's tiring. And Peter, with a 33 seconds deficit, is deciding that he feels quite good and he's going to test Mike Deegan over the stage. And as they approach Stamford Street, as they enter Stamford Street in Ashton-under-Lyne, the gap has grown to 30 or 40 metres. I think Peter was looking through the window of the shop there. I don't think he was looking at camping equipment. He was seeing if he could catch a glimpse of Mike, see how far was behind in the reflection, without actually openly turning around and saying, look, I'm worried about you, where are you? Which is what runners try not to do. But I think he maybe did catch a glimpse of him, and with that lead that he's got, will have found a lot of confidence. He saw the continental habit there of cutting the corner. He's cutting the corner again. In road running, you're supposed to stay on the road, but continentals tend to run on the pavement when it's possible. And I've been in races where not only do they run on the pavement, they'll cut through a garden or a park if they can see somewhere easier to run. That was nearly a nasty accident with the dog there. It might have been nasty for Peter, but he avoided it well. Cuts the corner again across the pavement, following the car. A nice relaxed style. An empty Ashton-under-Lyne. It's probably 8 o'clock at night, so it's what the runners like. They don't like too much traffic on the road, and it's what the police like. The police are very, very helpful, and fortunately the races didn't provide too much of a traffic problem for them, but without their help it would be impossible to organise and efficiently run such a tour as this. But Peter is becoming a well-known figure now, and I think we'll hear soon some people shouting for him as he makes his way up to start the climb up into Mosley. Now that was a kid's voice, so he is getting well known. That's descriptive of the spirit of the tour. Mike Deegan well down now and suffering. Well, Peter doesn't know the courses. He grabs a drink there. He doesn't want to drink it. He needs to keep cool. He's poured it on his head. He hasn't seen this course, I don't think, and it's a long, long climb up there. Jeff Norman, in fact, has moved into second position now. Jeff, as we've explained before, is a specialist on the hills. Got a lot of strength in those legs. He's just past Mike there. Mike is really suffering, heavy-legged, and now being chased by Stan Curran, Dave Allen, and Bengt Nordqvist. Well, Peter's striding away there, looking very relaxed, very calm. Staying on the road now, which is a good thing. He probably is getting slightly tired and doesn't want to jump up onto the pavement, which would take a little bit of extra effort. Jeff Norman looking quite calm, quite relaxed, pushing away there, picking up some time. See Mike Deegan in the background following the cyclist, probably wishing he could borrow the bike. Stan Curran has moved into a positive 4th place now, and Dave Allen and Nordqvist following him. Soap and Harry on the bike just behind Mike there, Jeff Doggett, well-known figure in northwestern running circles. Between his two teammates, Mike Deegan in front and Stan Curran behind. You can hear the effort of Dave Allen as he pounds his way up the hill. Well, Banks decides it's a little bit quicker to go on the pavement there, and he's taking advantage of the left-hand bend as they make this long, long climb up to Mosley, to Upper Mosley, and then just dive down towards Seal Park and the finish on the football ground. Well, I don't know what's going through Mike's mind there. He's seen his lead dwindle substantially. There's nothing he can do about it. His legs are very, very heavy. As Peter relaxes his way, is it the top? He takes a look to the left. He can see Hartshead Pike. He's admiring the scenery. Well, well, he must be relaxed. It's not the top. Nobody replies. Poor Peter, but in fact it was the top. You can see he starts to run downhill now. A very happy man to have seen the summit of that long road. And a few more little twists and turns and he's going to see Seal Park. He's looking around, checking that there's nobody too near. He has to cross the road, so he's also checking on the traffic, which thankfully is staying at arm's length or leg's length, or a safe distance anyway, to let him get across onto the right hand side of the road, make his way against the one-way system in Mosley and towards Teal Park. Great sportsmanship there, you know, our English guys shouting for Peter Russman, the Dutchman.
Is it the Dutchman?
He makes his way around. Beautiful scene in the background. A most scenic and green, summery football ground at Seal Park, Mosley. Jeff Norman, not quite sure where to go. When now he says, get that car out of the way, then he can see exactly where he's going. Victory away for Peter Russman. That was hard. That was hard. Jeff Norman comes in, second place. Calm, relaxed, a little smile. Mike Deegan hurrying in, pushing on, saving the seconds. My God. Thankfully that's over. Stan coming just behind him, having a pretty good run on this stage, Stan. I'm very pleased with that to see Mike so close to him. Duncan Oldfist, one of his best runs of the tour. Dave Allen, always finishing around that position in each stage, very consistent. Wolfgang Munsell, the stars coming in again, same old positions. Malcolm McBride from Salford Harriers. Duncan Gaskell.
You wanted some live action, didn't you?
That was the back.
I'll come over like.
Tim Johnson from Portsmouth Athletic Club, the first veteran. Jenkins again, well up there from Morpeth, the club of Jim Alder. And Martin Cruikshank, after a disastrous race on the hill, the first local man home virtually, apart from Mike Deegan. East Cheshire Harrier. Ian Parrow, an excellent run from Clayton Moors Harriers. My teammate, that's me, just finishing there. Not too happy at being beaten by one of my compatriots from Clayton Moors, but we're in with a chance of a team there. Third team, I think, behind Salford Harriers, or possible to beat on this kind of form. Tony Shaw from Rochdale, first over 45, powering his way into the finish just behind Steve Brace from Bridgend YMCA. Oh dear. Another Clayton Moors Harrier there, Jeff Settle. 032. Thankfully finishing the stage. One of the hardest stages of this tour, the Adidas run across Tameside. The temptation is to go fast at the start where everything's so flat, and then encounter this long drag, especially on a hot day like this is. This long drag after 8 miles of hard running up into the heights of Upper Mosley, and we can see the scenes of devastation there.
Get a time.
All right, Mike. Fortunately, we had St John's Ambulance Brigade on duty every night to take care of casualties, and the main casualties were heat exhaustion. Wilma Russman comes in to win the women's stage. She's obviously run with this guy all the way. Thanks for the help. And Go Smiling finished the race there. Well, he's appealing to higher powers there. Doesn't quite know where he is, but two guys there. Oh, thank God that's over. Tremendous spirit amongst runners, no aggro. Everybody's in it, fighting against the distance, against the elements, against the hills, against the heat, as well as against themselves. Some welcome cold sponges and cold drinks, and Alice MacDonald comes into the field there. And there's Mike Deegan consoling Angela, who's obviously very, very far gone into a state of exhaustion. She doesn't quite know where she is.
Third stage of the Henley's Austin Rover Tour of Tameside. Everybody knows about Tameside now. The roads are wet with sweat after today, and it's the Adidas run across the Tameside, and we're very happy that Adidas can help us out with this sponsorship for the third stage, one of the toughest stages of the Tour of Tameside. We'll start off with the winner of the Open Division, Open Men's Division. The winner tonight was Peter Russman in a very fast time of 55.45. Peter from the Netherlands. Second in the Open Division, and not very far behind, probably the hill helped him, he's a bit of a mountain goat, Jeff Norman, 55.58. Mike Deegan was third, 56.25. First lady home tonight was Wilma Russman from Holland in 66 minutes 11 seconds. Second lady home, just 38 seconds behind Wilma, was Anne King from Burnham. Well done. And third lady home in 67 minutes 38 seconds was Colette Harkin from Bolton. Anne King is leading the ladies division overall with 2 hours 20.49. Wilma Russman from Holland is second with 2 hours 31.52, and Colette Harkin from Bolton is third with 2 hours, it says 22 here, it must mean 32.31, so the positions are pretty close there. In fact, in the men's division overall, Peter Russman is leading with 1 hour 58.12. Mike Deegan has slipped back to second by 7 seconds with 1:58.19. Jeff Norman has streaked right up to third with 1:59.55. And Wolfgang Munzel from West Germany is in fourth position with 1:59.54.
Well this year, it did well last year and the year before. What's the secret of success, Alex?
Well, I think it's just a very good outfit of runners, really. We've got a tremendous number of runners, and we've fielded 4 of our better runners this year, and in previous years we've seemed to have always got at least 1 or 2 of our star runners out. We haven't got, you know, an absolutely full strength team out, believe it or not. We've left the likes of Steve Kenyon back at home and Tony Leonard, but we're, as I say, we're hopeful we may take over from Gateshead as the North's Premier team.
Now I understand that you've got an injury tonight, Mike. Do you think that's going to cause problems?
I've got a slight hamstring pull from Tuesday, and it's pretty painful at the moment. We'll just have to start easy tonight and see how it goes, but it could be a problem. I'll have to pull out tonight, then, you know, it leaves just 3 guys to finish the race off, really.
Now you're not quite halfway through the event yet. How is it beginning to tell upon you?
Well, personally, I sprained an ankle Monday night, and but it's a little bit better. But I think at this stage, really, it's the stiffness starts to come out on people, and this is a long race, and the time can sort of change hands rapidly tonight. But the weather's cool, which will make life a lot easier. It's been very warm and sticky this last few days, so I think it'll help me certainly. And I think
also make the race a bit faster as well.
That's true.
Walter Brown, I believe you're the oldest man in the race. I wonder if you could tell us how old you are.
59 this year.
Is this the first time in the Tour of Tameside?
Oh no, this is my third this.
So you've run every race since the start?
Yeah.
And you obviously enjoy the race?
Oh yes, it's good.
What appeals to you about it in particular?
Well, I think it's the competition, and then to try and beat what you did last time if possible, you know.
And are you managing to do that?
At the moment, I'm just in front at the moment of what I've done before, yes.
That's smashing.
Yeah.
And what about your family? Have you got anybody in the family that runs, or?
Well, my wife's actually a judge, and she'll be judging somewhere today, but she'll have gone to the club for a run first.
There's no bias involved here, is there? Don't let you cut any corners or anything like that?
Oh no, she's worse with me than anybody else, actually.
New Balance half marathon after the only rest day in the middle of the tour. He's over 5 laps of an Ashton-under-Lyne town centre course. Tim Johnson 267, well ahead in the veterans race there. People limping off, strolling towards the finish now. The longest stage of the tour. Slightly cooler than the previous 3 days of racing, so that will help the runs a little bit. But not that cool by English standards. And this line up and move forward to the start line. Sean Pender there, 181 from Ireland. His favourite phrase is, he nearly had a heart attack. Well, he's probably had all the major heart attacks he's going to have in this tour. I think the toughest stages have gone. This is just a long one, nothing really grueling with regard to hills and things, just a long, pleasant run really around the streets of Ashton-under-Lyne. They're on the marks and away they go. One would expect a somewhat cautious sort of start on a race like this, but as we can see here, there's always somebody willing to go out there and make it go. And this time it's Dave Allen of Airedale and Spen Valley, followed closely by Peter Russman, who's now in the yellow race leader's vest again, washed and ironed and hung up to dry. And there is a new vest for every runner that takes on the race leader. They don't have to wash it or squeeze into a small or anything like that. We're very generous here. We provide a clean vest for everybody that takes on that mantle. Now, Mike Deegan's with me here still. You were 7 seconds down going into this stage. What were you feeling with the half marathon ahead? You're not, I mean, I know you've done a marathon and you can run long distances, but I mean, you've been running 1500 and 5,000s on the track this year. What did you feel at this particular stage, the longest one of the tour?
I was very apprehensive. If you like, the whole race was a very good day for me. I took the overall lead. The next day was as bad as I could feel. I felt very mentally and physically drained at the end of a marathon. I felt exactly the same at the end of Tuesday, and I honestly thought that I couldn't carry on, and it was lucky that we had a rest day. If we'd have done maybe a short race on the Wednesday, I don't think I could have done it. I was thankful for the rest day. I was still feeling very sore and very stiff from those 2 hard stages on Monday and Tuesday, and I was quite glad it was a nice sort of gentle start. Day went off fairly quickly, but as you can see here, there's about 12 of us in a bunch steadily pulling away, but there's nobody really pushing along at a very fast pace. You know, I think everybody's in the same boat today. Everybody's a little bit sore and a little bit tired and being a bit cautious, and that's exactly what I was thinking at the moment.
Yeah, they've reeled Dave in pretty quickly there. big bunch up there. But a lot of people have said that as the tour has gone along, they've got fitter and fitter. I suppose really for the top class men, they're super fit anyway, and all they're going to feel on top of this total fitness is a fatigue if you really, you know, put the boot in all the stages. But this is a good race here. I mean, you've probably got the main contenders in that group there. That sort of just sums up the race really. The first 12 are all together in the bunch, and then there's quite a considerable gap, and then we've got the sort of second echelon way down there. And I have to say sorry for that. I'm amongst the ones that are way down, but that's how it goes. Tim Johnston in 2 yellow vests in there. Peter Russman, the present race leader, and Tim Johnston, the veterans race leader. Veterans, obviously, as most people know, is over 40 runners. It's over 35 for women, over 40 for men. They call it Masters in the USA. And Tim is an excellent runner. He's running better and better. He had a time off from running after his Olympic career was over with, but he's coming back now with a vengeance, and he's picking up gold medals in veterans races all over the world, and also doing well in open competition. Nordqvist here is having a go, Mike. As you said, there's a big bunch up there. It's anybody's race on a day like today.
It was, I think it's a credit to Tim. If you just look at those runners there, it's too easy to overlook what they've done. Nordqvist, for instance, is a 2:15, 2:14 marathon runner. Peter Russman's about the same standard, and these guys are obviously in very good condition. Talking to them throughout the week, you know, they're doing 100, 120 miles a week, and I think Tim performed particularly well in that sort of class of competition for a guy of his age. No disrespect, so he certainly got up there and mixed it with him.
Oh yeah, he's in actual fact, I thought he might be further up still. I'm not sure how many miles Tim's doing, but he is I wouldn't say a man of leisure. He's retired in actual fact, and does have free time on his hands for training, but at the age of 40 plus, it's possible to do too much training. I think Tim is a very intelligent man, Cambridge University, and he's obviously worked out the fine training balance that he needs, and did perform very well in the tour.
Got a nice stage here on the back of the loop in the trees in the shade. I think it was quite pleasant.
It's a good course, this, isn't it? You've got one steep little climb, and then a bit of a drag, then downhill, then a long run down into Ashton-under-Lyne, where you can relax and start to stride. I mean, you're leading here, pushing the pace. 3 Salford Harrys in the lead there. Yourself, Alan Sladen to your left in the black, white and grey, and then Stan Curran rocking and rolling his way on the outside of that group, on the left-hand side of the group as you look at your screen.
I think it's taken a couple of miles to get the stiffness out of the legs, and the tempo seems to be picking up a little bit now. This race felt a hell of a lot easier than Tuesday, I can tell you that.
We're probably on the quietest part of the course around the back to the north of Ashton-under-Lyne. We soon will come down and then turn left into Oldham Road and down to a feed station, which coincided with a very busy road junction and roadworks and made things a little bit hairy at times. But fortunately everything went well. There were no accidents, and next year should be far easier because the roadworks have now been completed. You can see lots of supporters running the opposite way around. Several clubs seem to have the training nights running the opposite way around, giving these guys support, and obviously watching a fine race at the same time, which and who could ask for more than that? Down into Oldham Road now, still downhill, isn't it, Mike? And you're obviously, what you're feeling there, I mean, you're pushing the pace on a bit. You felt bad on Tuesday night, now you're making
I wouldn't say pushing so much. I'm not trying to get a break here. I think I just found myself at the front of the pack, and I'm happy to run along and run the same pace. If somebody comes past, that's fine. I'm not going to respond and make a run of it yet. I'm just quite happy to be up there at the front and not have to worry about maybe tripping in the bunch or which way I put my feet, anything like that. I've got a clear run. I can just concentrate on running and don't have to worry about car doors opening and things like that, which sometimes happen in these races.
You're too modest, Mike. I seem to remember there's a bit of a headwind going down here. I was tucking in behind anybody that I could on this particular stretch. we're approaching the big crowds and Stan's going for his moments of glory here. I don't know whether he's sort of worried about the traffic and he needs to get a clear run there, but certainly he's pushing on the pace, and Peter Russman's obviously very serious. He's following anyone that's going into the lead. It's about, what, 3 or 4 yards there, which can be significant, but I don't think on this particular occasion was. I think the crowd closed up a little bit after that.
They were away for about maybe 3/4 of a mile, but nothing, no real dangerous on the break really. Just alone.
Down the field we go here. Mike Bolton running through from Rochdale. As we said before, these guys having their own little private battles. 5 laps, a long time to go, half a marathon, 13.1 miles. King in the yellow vest there, yeah, just gone through. Still leading the women's section of the race. Lots of running help is required here to give out drinks and sponges. It hasn't been raining, but it's just the overflow from the cups that people grab and try to drink, or the sponges as they squeeze them on the road as well as on their heads and everything. Whoops, just got it. That is just pure water, but these guys need it at that stage. And this is lap 1, so although it's overcast, it's obviously quite a warm day. Oh, the effort is bringing out lots of heat to the body and lots of perspiration to the brows and everywhere else. And the drinks are going to be needed in case of dehydration later on in the race, and the sponges are needed just to create a good cooling effect by wiping that sweat off and getting moisture onto the skin, cool moisture. D.A. Kane from Lee Harriers. She's going to finish. There's Alain Vancelot from Paris in France. He works in a sports shop in Paris. Not a fast runner, wears gloves every day no matter what the climate.
Different colour every day, you say.
Different pair of coloured gloves to match his gear. Well, his feet stood up from that 3rd stage. And there's Mark Parrish, the red lamp of the race, really. He's always at the back, and when he finishes, the timekeepers know they can pack up and go home. And here Peter on the 2nd lap has made a very decisive break. He's going to try and add to that lead that he's got. And what we're thinking here, Mike, obviously he's got away and you're staying with the rest of the field.
I thought I was suffering from a stitch at the time. Every day I seemed to be starving hungry after each stage, so I decided to risk scrambled eggs, and Stan's premature burst after 1 lap seemed to sort of catch me at the wrong time, and I'm suffering a little bit now. I think I've got over most of the stitching up this little hill. I started to realise that I was pulling him back slowly, so I wasn't too worried. I thought it's very early in the race. Tuesday I'd gone off hard and paid the penalty, and I thought, well, maybe Peter's gone a bit early today, really. Perhaps he was feeling good, he looks quite good.
So he took a bit of a risk and said, well, there's no way I can keep up with that pace. I'm just going to relax and see if he comes back. It's an interesting point that about feeling hungry, because with a 7:30 start, you've really got to eat something about 4:30, and you miss your big meal, you miss your evening meal. So it does peculiar things to your sort of digestive system.
You've got to completely reorganise your life in this. Because you get over in the evening, maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock. You don't like eating just before you go to sleep, and you miss the meal completely. I was sort of having pasta every night, and
seem to have made a burst over Dave Allen. Dave Allen is trying to hang on to you. You've got away very, very well from the rest of the group, so that suggests that the boot's been put in and there's a bit of acceleration going on there.
It stands obviously he was paying the penalty. You can see he's back in the pack at the rear of the photo there. There's just 3 of us away now. And slowly but surely Peter's coming back. I think it was a little bit half-hearted. I think if he would have got away, he might have capitalised on it, but I think he's freewheeling at the moment. He's waiting for me to catch him.
Well, yeah, half a marathon is a long way. It's 13.1 miles. It's well over an hour of running, so it can be quite lonely. And when you've got a lead, you don't really have to, if you're confident, depend on increasing that lead on a long stage like this. This is where tactics are coming into the Tour of Tameside, and this is something that I personally have hoped would happen with the Tour, is that it wouldn't be eyeballs out every day, that people would start to think about the running and try to push a hard one in on certain stages and relax on others, and look at their overall lead and try to consolidate it, try to guard it or try to increase it. And this seems to be what is happening on this particular stage. The bikes there seem to be a bit of a nuisance because they're weaving and turning around, which is probably upsetting for the chasing group. But I mean, when I say chasing group, it's probably a group that's gradually going to fall further and further back. And Dave Allen, in fact, is running probably his best stage of the two here and hanging on to you two, who are very, very well clear of the rest of the field.
Dave's closed the gap and he's taking a ride now. You see he just slots in behind. We'll be doing a bit of cat and mouse now. Who's going to lead the next lap? So they're running side by side.
Well, that's good. Yeah, you're looking relaxed. It's good. When it gets tactical like that, you can afford to relax a little bit, provided somebody doesn't put a big burst in. I think it's Dave who's really hanging on there.
So we have a bit of trouble with the traffic there.
That's right. On the second lap, the police directed everybody down between those huge beams which were separating the pedestrian way from the roadway, and certainly in my part of the field where it was a little bit crowded, it was dangerous dodging down there because you're running two abreast. There was a big pit on the left hand side. This little scene here sums up the spirit of the tour, where Peter takes a sponge and hands it back to you and then you hand it back to Dave Allen. That's absolutely great and really sums up road running and athletics throughout the world, not just in the UK. Not that I'd like to take a sweaty sponge from somebody, but at least the thought is there, and it's the thought that counts. Rob Taylor, Martin Cruikshank and Jenkins from Morpeth all cruising down there. End of the second lap, taking sponges. Ian Harrow from Clayton and Moores leading that little bunch there with the grey shorts on the immediate left. Tony Alexander, as you rightly said, first junior, sticking in that group, and Steve Grace from Bridgend YMCA. That's the group from another angle, the same group as they go through there, grabbing sponges, cooling down. There's myself on film, running with Tony Shaw and over 45, and me hanging on to him, not too happy. But Tony was having a great race that day. Now comes the big groups. That was where it was difficult, down between those beams. And we can see Anne King in the middle of those men. You could.
You can see Wilma as well, fairly close.
See her past there. She's in the next group. Will we see her, will we not? We didn't. She was in there somewhere with a yellow jersey anyway. Yes, well, I've run 5 miles, I need a drink. I want to get to the finish, so I'm going to take a drink. Alan Jones from Bolton Harriers, followed by Walter Brown, the oldest man in the race. Thompson in the yellow vest with the black trim of Stockport Harriers. Peter Ashworth in a blue vest there from my own club, Clayton Moors Harriers. Those aren't our colours, but I know he's one of ours. Alan Bagley, is it?
Alan Bagley, Stockport now.
Now Stockport Harriers with his Union Jack shorts, very patriotic. Good lad with his painter's cap, I think the Americans call him. He isn't a painter, I think he works for British Rail, so he's just got that cap on in case the sun comes out and he puts the peak down, you can see where he's going. A member of the fair sex there, in with the men, beating a lot of them. A fine example. There's a man with wings or horns, the devil. There's a Tameside man going through, Colin. Tameside NBC. Little smile from the lady there, somebody's enjoying it, they're all enjoying it really. And Betty Norris, this lady from Mitcham AC, is over 50, believe it or not. Fantastic. And Peter and Mike now coming through, and you can see the problems, slight problems with this kind of lap course is that they have to pass all the tail enders who aren't quite so fast. And in the blue vest, Jeff Norman from Altrincham, 176 is Bent Nordqvist, and the guy with the white vest and red, black and gold stripes of Germany is Wolfgang Monsell, followed by Malcolm McBride, and he gives a wave of his hand, he wants a sponge. He doesn't take the sponge, he's waving to somebody else. You probably see, okay, Peter took a sponge on the first lap, but a lot of the top runners will scorn drinks and things like that in a race of a half marathon. They need them in a full marathon, but for a half marathon it's not really necessary, and it upsets the rhythm if they try to drink, so they'll wait to the end and they'll wait for a pint of Chester's actually, rather than drink the sort of water or orange juice that's offered. No, Tim doesn't take a drink, he's too busy trying to hang on to Alan Sladen there. Shank and Jenkins and Taylor from Stockport. Tony Alexander again in the green vest, first junior. Well in the lead in the junior category of the race, and in the first 20 overall, which is a very creditable performance for a young lad. Well, he never his heart attack, but here goes Sean right through there. He's now, where is he now, Mike? In Australia somewhere like that?
Who knows? Who knows? He's in a wall somewhere.
Spent a long time working in Germany, Sean Bender, so he's a personal friend of ours, and that's the running community. And there's Wilma and Anne King going through the first two women on that particular stage. The good English Bobby directing the traffic, guarding the runners. The race commentating car just gone through there. And Peter's broken away again here. Mike, what's happening here?
This is going into the last lap on the fourth lap, which we seem to have missed due to the bit of tail end. He got a break in up the hill, the first part of the course.
On the fourth lap?
On the fourth lap, yeah. And I was struggling to stay with him really. I think this is where his endurance, the miles in his legs, the distance for his endurance is telling. And maybe my lack of miles is also telling him. He's got the gap, and my thoughts at the moment are just keep it as low as possible, just keep plugging away, and maybe he's going to come back.
Walter Brown 0:40, just about to be lapped by Tim Johnson 2:67. Two old men, one older than the other by quite a stretch, and 2.5 miles behind. And Tim's broken away from Alan Sladen, which shows the standard of the guy at 40 plus. Very hard to drink on the run, and some of these guys who are a long way behind really have to do it. Wilma Russman goes through again there, going into her last lap probably. Tony Harlow from Plain. And Angela Deegan, Mike's wife, just lapped by Peter Russman. A good shot that. One of the leader in the men's race, followed by one of the leaders in the women's race, and the wife of Mike Deegan. And here comes Peter, looking quite calm, waving to the crowd. Finger up, number one. Thank God that's over now. Where's Mike Deegan? He says he looks behind, and there's Mike, just 10 seconds behind.
Glad to see the finish.
Glad to see the finish. Well done, Peter. Again, the camaraderie comes out. Wolfgang Munsell just... There's a long finish around here. You approach the feed station, but there's still about 400 metres to go.
It seems to sort of drag on with it, you know, in a cross country.
Good crowds on the finish of this half marathon. Munsell, having gone round that 400 metre loop, is now coming into the finish. Sprinting, saving the odd second. He's seen the tape, he knows he hasn't got far to go. Similar Malcolm McBride, showing the form of a 400 metre runner. The shadow he looks far behind isn't there. Everybody feels somebody coming up. Tim Johnson just comes in, Jenkins sprinting away. And there's the old man Ron Hill coming in, way behind, unfortunately. Had a hard race on that particular stage with Tony Shaw from Rochdale, who thought the finish was where the feed station was and didn't realise he got 400 metre still to run. He tried to duck under a rope and get to what he saw was the finish, but somebody pushed him back onto the course, and he unfortunately had to give up then, because really he had me beat. And it was a great shame for Tony that he didn't know exactly where the finish was, because there was no way I could have beaten him that day, and I think he would have rather treasured that victory over me on that particular stage. And here they come, as we've seen before. They can still raise a sprint at the end if there's somebody just in front of them, and that's the sign of competitive runners. And look at this for a sprint. That's not Alan Wells at all. That is a guy who just won half a marathon, believe it or not. Well, that's along the stage, and the gloom's beginning to descend a little bit. Now it's beginning to fall. All glad to see the finish. All looking around, checking, and here comes Anne King. Anne King is going to win this stage, and is going to go further ahead in the women's stage. She looks around like everybody does, just checking whether Wilma Russman's anywhere near her, and then she goes for a great victory for Anne King in the half marathon stage. And there's Wilma Russman in second place, looking very chic in her Ron Hill Paris outfit. Guy in the white vest with the black stripe is Hugh Barnfather from the RAF, a veteran of the tour, and he sings the praises of the tour wherever he goes. Good friend of ours. Well, we've got a smile from one guy there. Got a smile from another one.
Yeah, 5 minutes slower than last year. I did 72.53 last year, and I've done 77.51.
And the weather's a bit cooler this year?
No, it rained last year.
Did you go on tonight?
I don't know how I've gone on time-wise, but running in with Ron, I think it must have been pretty good, really.
Running with Ron Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that an advantage for running someone who's experienced?
Well, it is, isn't it?
It keeps you around.
Yeah. It does that. Oh.
What about the conditions tonight?
A lot better, a lot cooler, yeah. Yeah, smashing. Enjoyed it.
Are you enjoying the tour so far?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just hope I can move my legs tomorrow now.
It's your third time on the tour.
Third time, yes.
Both run it every time.
Yes.
How are you finding it this year compared with the other years?
Well, we know the courses, so it's not too bad. A bit stiff on the legs.
Yeah. Well, I've been injured, so I'm just taking it training this year. It's starting to run now. Like. First couple was a bit hard, like, but not too bad now.
And who's home first every time?
Oh, I'm 50. I was 50 on Sunday. Gone. So I'm running for the over 50 prize.
So I'm starting to pull away now on the longer ones, I'm sure.
Giving him behind on the longer race. I don't believe it. You think your ankle will hold up to the end of the race?
If it holds up on the cross country tomorrow, it'll be okay. So I'm going to strap it up and take it very easy tomorrow, and then just have a flat out for the last race and see how it goes.
Is it as hard as everybody makes out? Do you think it's the toughest race?
It's the toughest thing I've done, certainly. Yeah.
And will you manage it to the end?
Yeah, definitely.
Very confident.
Yeah.
Relaxation, a bit of hydrotherapy. These people wallow in the water. While they're wallowing, Mark Parrish is typically running home in the dark. There he goes. The timekeepers now say, "That's it. Pack up, lads. The last man's in." Winner tonight was Peter Russell from the Netherlands in 1:5:26. Second, Mike Regan from third, he finishes June every time we get a result sheet there, but Jeff Norman from Altrincham at 1:7:02. First lady home was Anne King from Birmingham. Now goes a little bit further ahead in the overall section of the race. Well done. Second, Wilbur Rusland from Holland. And third, Glenn Hawk in 1 hour 20 minutes 51. Veterans winner, Tim Johnson from Portsmouth. Our prize for the first event in the over 45, Tony Shaw. Do we know the first event over 50?
Sid Robson.
No, he was in there.
And Walter Brown over 55 first bet. First two games on Alexander.
Could you tell him put a finger for an icon? You don't
First lady, Brenda Robinson.
Betty Norris.
Betty Norris, please here.
Betty. Come through there.
Cross country tomorrow. Watch your ankles. Too nice and fresh. See you all there. It's 6 mile cross country stage at Silver Springs to the north of Ashton-under-Lyne. In fact, in the run across Tameside, we did pass Silver Springs, which was to the runner's right, and it's an area of fields, rough tracks, a true cross-country course, and on this particular day, in fact, a tough cross-country course because of the hard nature of the ground and risks of twisted ankles and people having to take care on the course increase the difficulty of it. And quite a tortuous course to have so many runners on it, just under 300 runners. And there's Peter Russman straight into the lead. Usually a few surprises on this particular stage in the tour, but not on this occasion. The two main protagonists, Mike Deegan and Peter Russman, dominating the race as they did throughout the tour. But again, another novelty for many runners who've come into the tour and only been used to running on roads. This is an introduction. They had the hill race on Monday night, and now they've got some cross-country running to do, and hopefully it'll whet their appetite for future races of this nature. There was a fun run after this race where kids were allowed to run one lap of the course, and there was a good turnout for that as well as for the fifth stage, of the Tour of Tameside. Beautiful shot there, reflection of the runners in the lake and the countryside around Tameside, beautiful countryside. And this is the first lap, and Peter Russman's burst at the start of that, but didn't last very long. Mike, you're looking very determined there, and you've got a good lead on him, 20 metres.
My thoughts were that he'd taken 10 seconds the night before, and I had 17 seconds to make up. And I thought, well, I know the course, I've run it probably every year for the past 4 years, and I should use that to my advantage to make a break. I was worried Spines Peter decided not to, and I thought that again that would go to my advantage. So I thought, well, give it a whirl from the start, see how you go. I felt tired, obviously, so it was a matter of trying to get away, trying to make those seconds up, and just hoping for the best.
Well, you had a clear run. There's one difficulty on this course, being so narrow in parts, is that it's very difficult to overtake. So a clear run is an advantage if you've got the ability to take that. But we see the whole sort of field going through here, and little battles and fights and competitions going on way down the field. Very closely packed, as you can see. This is the difficulty in overtaking. But when people get really tired, 3-lap course this, 3 2-mile laps. When people really get tired, they'll fall by the wayside, and there's a chance to pass. And there's the two women running together there, Wilma Russman in the maroon and grey, and Barbara Ann King in the gold vest. Hugh Barnfather, blue mesh vest, followed by Colette Harkin and Kate Fitzgibbon in the red shorts there. Sid Robson there in his Gateshead vest. His lad must have gone through a long time before. Look how far, he's over 50, he was 50 on the Sunday of the tour, and look how far he is ahead of all the other runners there, trailing him.
Come on, Eric.
The voice of Harry Kelly echoing in the background there, a coach in East Cheshire Harriers, supported most of the courses. Come on, Walt, that's Walter Brown, another East Cheshire Harrier. Obviously commanding great support because East Cheshire Harriers is a local club in that area. Jerry Bernard from Bahrain just gone through there in a red mesh vest. Bolton, that's Alan Jones. And Betty Norris with the long blonde hair there, well in front of a few, more than a few runners. Mr. Satari, whose feet again are stood up, a veteran of the tour. Some idea of the bumps and hills and ups and downs at the end of the lap on this 2 mile lap. And Mike, you're still holding substantial lead here. End of lap 1, the sun's just going down, the shadows of the pylon are on the ground there, and you're still well away.
Yeah, but a sudden tiredness hit me, you know, a few of these little climbs, and you begin to realise that you're not going into a race fresh. You've run a half marathon the night before, and that's going to take something out of you. It doesn't matter how you feel before you run. When you get into a race, you do a few miles at that sort of speed, you suddenly realise that you're 37 miles behind you in the week of quality running. You're tired, you know. I felt like it could have been the end of the race after one lap.
Well, you can see it's pretty tricky in parts of the course, especially this end, and as you said, little bumps and bends. There's a guy nearly went down there. Had it been wet, it might have been even more difficult on that particular section, but these bumps, ups and downs, break the rhythm and certainly can tire you out a lot. I mean, you know, there's no chance for passing on this part of the course at all, and they're just, guys are content to run in single file and stay on their feet. Looking a bit tired, Mike Deegan enters the second lap, still with the gap above Peter, and well in front of the other runners. Malcolm McBride having a good run. This is one of his favourite stages from tours past. Malcolm has traditionally done very, very well on the cross-country stage. A lot of it's in the mind. If he knows he's going to run well, he will run well on that particular stage. Tony Alexander said that he was trying to do the Steve Bracebridge, NYMCA, well up there. Steve Edmonds looking grim-faced in a disaster race on the River Cross Tameside.
It's Dr. Ron Hill just going through the finish. Ron, whose idea this was, of course.
Kenny Mayer from Bolton Harriers, popular figure in the Northwest. Pete Lomas has taken prizes in the veterans section of the Tour in past years. Did fairly well down on this occasion. Alan Bagley, still with his painter's cap, and Union Jack shorts, another painter's cap. A good crowd, a lot of them waiting to do the fun ones, so they can be part of the tour as well as just spectators. And it was a great sight to see all those young kids. We said it was a fun run, but they didn't know off hair around that course. I'm glad I wasn't on the run with them. It would have put me to shame. There goes Wilmer, running well on cross country. Anna King is more of a road runner. She's about 30-40 metres behind going into the second lap. She doesn't like the rough run. She much prefers to run on the road. Tommy Parr and Claire Blue Vest just come through there. Sid Robson again.
Every race long, he's beaten, but he's winning at the moment. That's good.
He's not in the race. Come on, Sonny. Get off the course. Colette Harkin. Nice Armstrong down. That's good. Brenda Robinson. Well, the kids are laughing. It's funny when you've run 40 odd miles, I can assure you. But if you're enjoying it, that's what it's like. Raz, Rasputin, we've got very, very long. Yeah, Angela Deegan going through. Henry Matthews. Yes. Haircut for the occasion. Warm weather. Just to be sure to keep you cool.
Peter Russell
gun, single file. There's the one with the horns and wings, I don't know which. Must be horns, certainly not wings. Over at the sharp end of the field, Mike, looking a little bit heavy leg there, Mike. Still got this lead over Peter Russman, halfway around the second lap, in fact.
Yeah, Peter, I know he's closing down. There's so much local support for him. People are saying, you know, you've got 15 metres, you've got 10 metres, and I've resigned myself to the fact now that he's going to catch me, and I'm just thinking, well, I better conserve some energy and try to take a ride.
Yeah, slightly uphill this part of the course.
Doesn't look it, but it is tough to find.
Malcolm McBride in red nearly twisted an ankle there. Alan Sladen in his Finland shorts going through. Walter Munsell struggling a little bit there. Stan Curran and Steve Howcroft going through together. Difficult to run behind somebody on this part because you can't really see where your feet are landing. Jeff Settle, Mike Bolton. A. Hardy from Graham Jarvis, Dave Farmer in the green vest there. A lovely day, look at this sort of the middle of summer in Tameside, looking across the grass, running around the fields. The runners don't appreciate this at all because they're purely looking where the feet are landing and worrying about how the legs are going to stand up and how the lungs are going to stand up. From a spectator's point of view, we can enjoy the scenery a little bit. The cows aren't interested, they're grazing away there. If they did look up, they wonder what the heck was going on. That's heavy breathing from the microphone, all genuine, nothing staged. Green field at the far end of the course, which is a bit of a killer because you go down into a gully and up the other side, and there's a long drag round to the top corner of the field and then down to the bumps and the ups and downs before the end of the lap. Most people wearing flat shoes, in other words shoes without spikes now. I would imagine that most of the leading runners, including myself, and I say leading runners in the first 20 that is, would be wearing spikes to have a light shoe and certain grip which spikes give.
3.
Peter Powell from Stopper Harris counting the runners through, and Bowden did actually start the tour, must have dropped out with some kind of
177, 178, 179, 180, 181, 182, 183, 184.
Well, lots of the Henry's Austin Rover Tour of Tameside vests there.
185.
Well, into the finish, Mike, and you're sprinting like hell, and I believe in the end you got a 3-second victory over Peter.
Just about disappointing. 3 seconds is better than nothing.
The winner tonight was Mike Deegan from Salford. Second, 3 seconds behind in 32.21, Peter Russman. Jeff Norman from Altrincham. Fourth, Bengt Nordqvist from Sweden. Fifth, Dave Allen from Asbach. First lady home tonight, Wilma Russman from Netherlands. Wilma, you take over the overall lead for the ladies? Yeah. Yes, by 6 seconds. Oh no, 4 seconds. So we have 14. Well, that's a short lead, but here's a race leader's best for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Second lady, Anne King from Birmingham. Third lady, Kate Fitzgibbon from London. veteran, as usual, Tim Johnston from Portsmouth. I saw you tonight, yeah. Thanks, Tim. Second veteran, yours truly, so I'm not sure if you're and third veteran, Mike Poulton from Roxford. The final stage of the Tour of Tameside, stage 6. The Chesters, and it's good beer that, the Chesters Canal Race, starting at Mosley Football Club and finishing at Hyde Town Hall.
And how are you feeling today?
Pretty much the same as yesterday, not as stiff as Tuesday and Wednesday. I don't feel as bad as I did earlier in the week. I seem to be coping with that, but I think it's going to be a bit more cautious today. If I go out fast again, I might die after 2 or 3 miles, and then I'm going to have to suffer for 6, so it might be better to sit with Peter for about 5 miles and then try to take him towards the end of the race and try to do it that way.
Now what about the overall results? How much lead has Russman got on you now?
14 seconds, which is probably about 75 metres, which isn't very far after sort of 43 miles of racing.
What do you think about Peter Russman as an athlete?
He's pretty good. I mean, he's done about a 2:14 marathon. He's one of the top Dutch runners, but the difference between us is that we're sort of coming from 2 ends of the spectrum. I'm a track man who runs maybe 50 or 60 miles a week. He's a distance runner who's running 120 a week, and I think it's interesting that we're so close, but really I think Peter's maybe got a little more in reserve. He's recovering better than I am. That's the difference. I think I showed last night I can beat him on a sprint finish, but when I've got to take 14 seconds out of him, I've got to do a bit more than that. I can maybe sit on him today and take 3 or 4 seconds out of him again, but I'm still going to lose by 10.
Have you found it interesting to run against these international lads in this event this year?
Yes and no. I think it's really been a head-to-head between me and Peter. The other guys are pretty good guys, but they're still a fair way behind us. It's been interesting that you can run against a guy one day and you can beat him, the next day he can come back and beat you, and vice versa. It's been sort of like that all week, so that's made it quite exciting, I think, for the people, and quite interesting for both of us.
Good luck with today's event.
Thanks.
Well, Anne, you've led the ladies. What's the position time-wise with Vilma Russman today?
She's taken 14 seconds out of me, so she's got a little bit of a lead, but not much.
And how are you feeling for today's event?
I'll tell you later. I won't give anything away. No, I think everybody's tired.
Today. Do you
it
think
is.
That's going to give you problems?
Well, with the heat wave a couple of weeks ago, I really did a bit of conditioning work. I was training at midday, so I think I'll be okay in this heat. It's not too bad.
And how have you coped with the event generally?
I've enjoyed it. It's certainly a good endurance test. I think I'll come back again next year anyway, so it can't be that bad.
That's great news. Thanks for...
Rocket route ends your tours, between your tours and the bowling foot.
So it's just... Well, Colin, we had a word with you early on in the race. I see you've got a few problems here today. What exactly is the matter?
Well, I've got bruising of the feet, and I've got about 3 or 4 blisters on it underneath, so it's very sore. I could hardly walk this morning, but...
Not really surprising after all that distance, is it?
I think having done whatever it is, 5 races, you know, I think they've got to try and finish it now.
Well, you're going to make it through today then, even with this heat?
I'm going to try.
But he got there in time, and he lined up to the cheers of all the rest of the runners as they made their way at the gun from Seal Park Mosley Football Club ground, up a bit of a rise and then a very, very steep downhill run to the Huddersfield Narrow Canal. Around the fairground that's traditionally there on the last day of the tour, and this is the end of the first stretch of the canal at Staley Bridge after about 3 miles of running. Obviously the two main protagonists are locked in combat here. Another beautiful day, but this is going to be extremely tactical. And Mike, what are you feeling here? You're after about 3 miles, another 6 miles to go.
Well, Peter has gone very, very hard. My thoughts were that he was steady and played cagey. He had the lead, and it was up for me to take it away from him. He went off very hard, which surprised me, but I think he slowed down a little bit on this stretch. It's a bit tricky on the foot, and we both managed to settle into a nice rhythm, but it was really a two-horse race, so to speak, and I was feeling quite confident this time.
But he had 14 seconds to make up on him, so somewhere along the road or along the canal, if you will, he had to make a substantial break and get that 14 seconds in hand.
Well, that happened just after this point, going through Stourbridge town centre. I began to sense that he was breathing a little bit more heavily than I was. It surprised me. He was obviously tireder than I thought he'd been all week. I thought he had a lot more reserve, and he was breathing heavily. And just after this point, I made a little bit of a surge and took maybe 4 or 5 yards. When we get back on the canal in about a mile's time, that's where I started to make a run for home.
Well, you can see the crowds here, how it looks difficult to pass, but I mean, when you're running in a crowd and you have a faster pace, it's not that difficult, although everybody appears to try to get down to the canal as quickly as they can to get in front, because the runners think there's no passing, but in fact it's not that difficult. Here they are coming off the Huddersfield Canal. Unfortunately, Anne King coming through there, followed by Angela Deegan, very close together. Unfortunately, the canal has been filled in and is lost to posterity as it goes through. The guy in the yellow trousers there, John Padgett from East Cheshire Harriers, and at this point we probably have to thank, and I'd like to thank, East Cheshire Harriers and Stockport Harriers for their support in providing all the markers, without whom it would be impossible to organise a race like this and keep the runners on course. This is the Portland Basin at Ashton-under-Lyne, where the Peak Forest Canal meets the Ashton Canal and the Huddersfield Canal. And Mike, you've broken away very decisively here. We haven't seen Peter yet, you're way ahead. See, the sun is beating down and you're running very, very strongly. Did you think you had it in the bag at this stage with about 3 miles to go?
Come on, as you say, there's 3 miles to go. We've done 6, I've got a gap. And I was feeling quite good, but it wasn't decisive yet. I could still sense that he was behind, the way that people were cheering and shouting. And it's far from over at this point, in my mind.
In your mind, but I think looking at Peter there, he seems to have given up. You're just going under the bridge, then you go over the top, under the bridge, and out on the Peak Forest Canal towards Hyde. You're away now. He's seen you go under. He's got a little bit of a hill to climb, and he's got under too. And he looks a little bit forlorn. He looks a little bit dejected, and he looks like he might have given up there. But as you say, you're not looking around. You can't tell. Jeff Norton having a storming run with 3rd place there, followed by Dave Allen. Malcolm McBride receiving the cheers of the crowd there, the local man, he lives in Hyde. Duncan Gaskell and Steve Howcroft, one from each side of the Pennines, battling it out there. And Stan Curran again, another popular figure in this area. Wolfgang struggling a little bit, he looks like he's raving and flapping there, and Beck Nordqvist, the Swede and the German going through. Tim Johnston, isolated at the moment, but in fact as he caught that group of runners in front of him, he got knocked in the canal. A cooling bath, but not too pleasant, I can assure you. And here are the runners.
Salford Harriers training run again.
Yeah, Jeff Doggett, we saw him on a bike on the run across Tameside. He's in training there, the guy in the blue vest. He's not in the race. And the ones that are coming up now, and there's me. My God, I almost bent double there with fatigue. Coming up towards the finish, there's half a mile to go in the final stage there, slightly uphill, and we're looking at the the leaders there, but the pack that are just following the leading 20 or so, and everybody is going to be very, very happy to cross that line. A few marshals needed on this tricky point as we come out of the canal into Hyde, up Great Norbury Street, and then along to the finish in front of Hyde Town Hall. Hamish Thompson just going through there, Stockport Peter Ashworth in the blue vest, Clayton Rose Harriers. Another Stockport Harrier goes through. And if you're struggling, there's a slight hill there at Great Norbury Street, and that's very, very hard work, as you know the finish is near, but you're trying to hang on in front of other runners and hoping desperately it's not going to be a sprint finish.
Somebody told me at the start that we had to go all the way to the top of Great Norby Street and back down.
Not a pleasant thought. I think you know the course better than that. And there's Wilbur Russman comes through, and there's Mike Deegan, breaks the tape to win the Tour by 50 seconds. An incredible win on the last stage by over a minute, took him to an overall lead from Peter.
I said he'd go off easy and he went off really hard. Then he slowed down between Moseley and Stalybridge on the sort of rough parts of the canal. And then in Stalybridge he almost invited me to take the lead, so I thought this is a tactical race. I was a bit wary about doing that, but then I could sense running beside him that he was breathing a little bit heavier than I was, so I thought he's tired. So between Stalybridge and Ashton I decided to really pile it on and see what happened, and I got away quite easily.
We were on the bridge there and we could see there wasn't a great deal of distance
there was a lot of supporters there, and Ricky Wilde shouted that I had 13 seconds and I needed 14, so it was still pretty close with 3 miles to go. And I just kept working away. It was very, very hot running from Ashton back to Hyde the last 3 miles. But fortunately, there's a lot of people around shouting, encouraging, and I knew that part of the course because I used to train running from Hyde to Oldham when I first worked in Hyde. I used to live in Oldham, so I knew exactly every part of that canal. So I just kept running from one bridge to the next, basically.
Well, the support helped as well.
Yeah, it was terrific, really. There was people with drinks and sponges. I didn't have time to stop for those, but it keeps you going. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty tiring. If you've run about 50 miles and you've got 2 to go and there's a guy and he's only 15 seconds behind, you can't really stop, you know.
Well, congratulations from all of us.
Thanks.
Could you let's see the cones, please? 109. 155.
Beats me on the last stage, looking a bit flat-footed. Glad to see the end of it, I can assure you. I've been just overtaken Alan Sladen. He beat me on every other stage but this, and I was quite happy to take Alan's scalp at the last minute. The man in the blue vest, Kenny Mayer, the popular figure, long-standing runner from Bolton Harriers. In fact, beat me on the run across Tameside, so not a bad runner, even though I say it myself. 031, Ian Carroll from my own club, Clayton Harriers, in front of Mike Paulson from Rochdale, another veteran. And the first junior coming in now, Tony Alexander in the green vest with the white and red stripes. Arthur Walsham, a popular and well-known runner in these circles, ran a 2:21 marathon when he was a veteran. A. Hardy from Brennan Joggers just finishing. Arthur in his bridge on the River Kwai shorts, guiding people into the finish. Tony Shaw from Rochdale saying, thank God that's over, I'm not going to step further, but he has to move on. Jit Patel, 013. Mike Lead, 068, collapsed on this stage last year. This time he made sure he was going to finish the Tour. Nigel Morpeth in the northeast, another man travelling down from far away. Although I think he's resident in Manchester at the moment. Here comes Hamish. Looks like he's short of a bit of training, but he's had a good training week there for sure. Peter Ashworth in the blue vest there, 301 from Clayton, just finishing. Tommy Parr looking very swish in his green shorts and tour vest. Tommy Parr from Bolton. Happy man. Stop the watch. Stop the running. It's all over. Thank heaven.
Walk straight through. Right through, walk straight through, right through. Well done, Joe.
Well done, Joe. Arthur Lawson with the khaki shorts. This is Salford Harrier, so he's supporting his women. The two women having an answer. How did it go?
No, I know.
Drinks, sponges, it was hot. They're about 52 miles late.
I was in the beginning, I ran fast and fast. I thought then I can a little bit slower. But my leg's always running. Yeah. So, but the half run, maybe 2 kilometers. I was very tired.
She might have gone a bit slow, but she finished 2 minutes and 45 seconds in front of the rest of the women, so very worthy winner. Nice to have an international women's winner in the Tour of Tameside. There goes Rasputin. Got his medal. He lives about half a mile away, but they're touring around Tameside in the last group. I would say a fairly who the heck?
Run this off or what? I've
earned this. Still go sprinting in. Come on, tell them the way. Keep moving.
Keep moving to the end.
New Barnfather from the RAF. Followed by Tony Harrell, who's got a shot called Air Force, so that's one of the coincidences as those two go through. Will Robson from the northeast there. Where's me dad, he says. Oh, give us a kiss. That suddenly came to the two.
Well, Ron, that fantastic run by Mike brings the third tour to an end now. How have you enjoyed the event?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, for somebody from Tameside to have won the tour, it's almost a dream ending to it. And to have been such a classic race with a foreigner, sort of, you know, an overseas guest, giving him such hard competitions, smashing. But really, if you look around, as well as that hard competition, you probably asked me, did he enjoy it? I said, well, no, I didn't really enjoy it because it was hard work. But these guys have enjoyed it because it's been a social occasion, an event, and they've been part of something very big. And you know, the number of people that said, "Oh, we'll be back next year," is phenomenal. We'll have to, we might have to observe the 500 sort of cut-off limit next year.
The event seems to have gone from strength to strength. You were the man who first envisaged the race. Has it achieved all the aims that you wanted it to achieve?
No, I think it will get, I think the standards will continue to rise. I think we'll eventually get 500, or we may even go to 600. The thing now is to maybe get some more faster runners and better runners, and I'd like to see a lot more foreign runners coming over. I mean, the guy from Norway is going to go back, the French guys have enjoyed it, the two from Bahrain have said it's great, and they're going to go back and tell everybody and maybe bring a little party to Tameside next year, and that's going to make the race even better.
A lot of runners have mentioned this fact that the standard has increased. Is there a limit that it can go to?
Mike's one of the best runners in Britain. Peter Russman's one of the best runners in Holland. No, we just got to get, you know, again, the best runners from Germany, and, well, we've got a German guy in anyway, a good Swede. Maybe spread it out, maybe get an American and make it sort of transatlantic as well. So there's sort of ideas we can use to take it another stage further, yeah. Maybe we'll have an international team competition. But, you know, step by step we've improved, and I'm very happy with it.
So Ron Hill will be back next year?
Yeah, well, you see, if you won't have noticed the medals, but we started with yellow ribbons, orange ribbons, red ribbons. It's going to be a rainbow, so I've still got purple, blue and green to go, and then black, so I'll be around for a while. If we take white, that's another 5.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, Andrew.
Cheers.
He wasn't the last man to finish, there were 2 behind him, but my God, he was happy, as were most people who ran the 1983 Henley's Austin Rover Tour of Thames.